Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Griefdrums, and in today's video, we're going to be covering some tips, tricks, some more advice. So hopefully you can help improve as a player, and hopefully some of these can help you out on different sites across the game. Now, normally with these kinds of videos, what I like to do is put sort of 3 tips and tricks together so that it's a manageable amount and you don't just forget all of them as soon as you go away. I think 3 is a good number to easily remember all of them. So without any further ado, let's jump straight in. Now, when you're playing on bank, it's not exactly that common to go and push the garage. It's a bit of a death trap, certainly if someone is hiding down the far end of it, like a Maestro, which we have seen, you know, as quite a common hold. You know, the Maestro can cover with the evil eye, and if he was to peek out and look to the left of the police car, or alternatively over to the right of the police car where he's expecting to see people, this is really going to ruin his day, especially if he cannot see the person that's getting him. Now, this was taken from a Pro League game that I saw, I believe it was during the Invitationals. And as you can see, this garage has actually got a tiny little slit just above the top of the police car. Now, incredibly, this has been in the game probably since its release, and it's something that a lot of people do not know about at all. But the ability to get your body up and out of the way on top of the police car, if you can get here safely, certainly if no one's paying attention to it, you can then stay and just cover for anyone moving into the garage. And it is just one of those cheeky sort of spots that you kind of throw into your arsenal and people go, whoa, what the hell was that? I've never seen that before in my entire Siege career. Now, I appreciate that there are going to be a lot of people out there that probably do know about this, and there's going to be a lot of people that probably don't. But knowing about this kind of stuff is definitely half the battle. Even if you choose not to use it and this isn't something that you're likely to take away, knowing that someone could do it to you can definitely assist you if you are hanging around in the garage, or alternatively, if you're playing in the basement area. With people like Maestro often defending the garage and having one of the evil eyes dedicated over to here, if you can get behind the cop car before he sees you get there, it can be quite difficult for him to spot you because the tiny little white dot does blend in with the car lights. I know they're far away from each other, but it doesn't stand out. Give it a go. See if you can get on top of the cop car and have a look through the garage door itself. It's bound to upset a few people. Next up, we're heading over to Consulate. This was actually taken from one of my live streams, and funnily enough, I actually took the clip and went to showcase it on Reddit and Twitter as I normally would, and a couple of questions got asked by other people, or, you know, statements that kind of got me thinking about what I did in this clip, and more importantly, why I did it. So the clip has been running in the background, and nothing major has really happened here, but there's still a few things that could prompt questioning. Now, unfortunately, the audio for this clip, for some reason, just doesn't seem to have come out. It worked fine on the Twitch clip itself, but it doesn't seem to have worked on the recorded file that I've got. Now, we're not going to dwell too much on the drone hole kill, despite the fact that it was extremely spicy. But that drone hole, if you look out onto there, you can see people running past and just take their heads off if your reactions are quick enough. But here is what I really want to talk about. So at the beginning of the clip, you will have seen me shotgun out 2 sections of the roof just above. This section here where the 2 reinforcements join, I did directly above that. And I did the same on this one just here, if you just follow it up and then just shoot a section out of that. Having this shotgun with the amount of destruction that it has can be extremely beneficial for things like this. With Kaid, you can go ahead and chuck the electroclaws just up into there, and it sort of hides them as much as possible. Obviously, it's not perfect. It's far from it. That one was actually a pretty bad one because it's facing vertically, but if you can get it going horizontally, it actually makes it a little bit better. But nevertheless, the point of doing this is so that anyone that's pushing in from the yellow stairs and trying to take out the electricity that's on there, if they haven't got a Thatcher, for example, when they come across to here and they're trying to look for the bandit batteries or the Kaid electroclaw, if I'd have placed it on the middle and one of them hit all 3, yes, that can be extremely effective, but it can also just be shot out very easily. Anyone that comes to here is going to have a harder time spotting them because they are hidden up and out of the way. If you crouch, you can just about make that one out. As I say, this one that I've placed here was a bad one. That makes it pretty obvious. But in the heat of battle, when it's all going on and you're trying to contest different areas, it makes it that much harder to spot, especially with people who've got big sights on their weapon. That's the only intention. That was the reasoning behind it. It just makes it harder to get to them, and it makes them a little less obvious. Now, in that round, it was the first round on the map, and 9 times out of 10 people will go to the top floor, and that's what we've counted on. So subsequently, they didn't bring the Thatcher. I don't even think they had the thermite either, but even if they'd had the thermite, that electricity there was just to catch them out, and that was the only intention and reason behind it. So hopefully that explains it a little bit. So the final tip for today that we're going to be looking at is this. Now, if you saw my Kaid box trick setup the other week, basically I was playing inside of this box here on Canal, to try and assist people in the way they can hold it. And whilst we normally run this, unfortunately, the team that I was with, we accidentally banned Thatcher rather than Maverick, and subsequently Maverick is just able to open the wall, and it kind of nullifies the entire setup. So after losing a round playing as Kaid and realizing the error of our mistake and actually leaving Maverick in play, I decided to do this setup here that you'll see. Now initially, on the face of it, it looks like exactly the same setup. We've put the same sort of holes and rotates and lines of sight, and I'm playing it the same way that I did in the first round with Kaid before we realized our mistake, just so that it wastes a bit of time and utility. Now you will notice that I've got a shield just to the left of the screen, and the logic behind that is once we've wasted a load of utility and them trying to get into the box, the second they actually started mavericking, I can fall back to the shield and play just behind it and cover various other ways. Now this is a complete adaptation on the box play. I'm still holding the box, I'm just not doing it from the wall and I'm doing it from slightly further back. But you'll notice that the majority of the rest of the setup is the same, and if we go ahead and just watch the round, the thing that I really want you to take away from this is not only the adaptation that we've done here when we realized that the tactic wasn't working and we needed to adjust slightly, but also I want to showcase some of the other ways that I can actually go about getting information as to where people are, even despite the fact that vault cams may not be covering it. Now you'll notice that the glass was broken on this window and we could hear audio coming through, and the second it opened we know that someone is opposite on that other building, so I went to contest that to try and get the numbers in our favour. From there, we can also see that I was able to see someone through the shield just outside of the box. You can see the movement, and I'm just trying to stall for time here. But as I went running past that doorway, you'll notice that this white marker came up to showcase there was someone on the L window. Paying attention to indicators like this can be really useful as you run past certain doorways and can give away exactly where people are, much like the tracers as well. So, you know, putting a couple of rounds down in a certain direction to try and get some back can be a really good way of trying to figure out where people are.
Is there one still out on top?
Yeah, there's one on the rocks. He's dead. They are pretty likely to know that you lot are going to be in sight, certainly if you're on defense. But trying to bait attackers into taking shots that they're not going to land can be pretty handy for knowing where they're coming from. As the round is going on, I noticed that a drone starts moving down the sky bridge when there's only 2 people left, and that's pretty much given away that someone is going to be coming from that side of the map. Now, whilst that isn't guaranteed, it's very often that people will drone just ahead of them, and then this white marker from shots coming through the open window is a strong acknowledgement that that is going to be the case. With someone dying just outside of the main wall, I'm able to figure out exactly where these 2 people are playing from. There's one outside of the main wall, there's one coming skybridge, there's 2 ways for us to respectively cover, and it's a pretty easy round from there, just because we can work off of the intel that we've picked up without any cameras or without that intel coming in. Just because you don't have cameras covering that certain area, there are other ways to get intel, and the white tracers, the hit markers, drones coming ahead in certain areas, they can all be tells that someone is going to come from that direction. Hopefully this gives you something to think about. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider hitting that thumbs up. If you don't already, make sure to subscribe for all things Rainbow Six. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay reckless and relentless.